Starting now.
Okay.
I'll just see as people start trickling in. There we go. Hi. I see that somebody just joined us now. And I see that we've got guys from LinkedIn as well who are on LinkedIn Live. Looking forward to this webinar. Welcome, guys. We'll give it up to a minute or two to welcome everybody else. Welcome.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey. How you doing, Mr. Bray?
Hey, good. Sorry, I was just selling some stuff.
That's good.
Of course.
At least we know we've got the right person.
Of course.
Yeah.
What
else would I be doing?
To see other guys just joining quickly.
Beautiful.
How's things on your side?
Well, the snow's finally melting, so things are looking up.
So
how's summer in Africa?
So we don't have that problem, yeah.
We've just been inundated with a lot of rain. So it's been kind of wintry for a weird hot summer normal time in Johannesburg. But yeah, we're all good. Just dealing with, power outages and the usual, kind of like we all feeling each other now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's just been one of those rainy days. I mean, the whole week, actually. You know what's funny? I took my car for a car wash after 6 weeks. I park the car and I go have breakfast. As soon as I start having my breakfast, it starts pouring down. You know what?
Oh, man.
Super. We're going to give it 1 more minute, guys, then we'll begin. I see people are still checking in. African time. Do you know anything about that, Corey?
African time? No, what's African time?
So in Africa, we don't go by time. We don't go by 6 or 1 o'clock or whatever time. The meeting starts when everybody is there. So it's not about the time. So we call it African time.
Got it.
But don't worry, we'll respect you.
No, that's good. I learned something.
Okay, there we go. It's 2 minutes. Hi guys. Welcome to everybody who's joined our webinar. And again, welcome to everybody who keeps coming back. We really love that, guys. It means a lot to us, and we love the feedback we always have after our webinars. It's always so encouraging to hear people what they say about the webinars and how it's helped them with their sales journey and how it's helped them to be able to sell better. That's why we're here, guys, and that's why we do this every single time. And that's where I wanted to start today, just where I explain. We've been having these webinars now for about 6-7 months. We began having them right in the middle of COVID-19 when it began, because we saw a need that people would want to hear, sales leaders want to hear about what's happening in the industry and how they can do better with their teams. And we've been having them, for free. And we are so privileged that we can get to invite great speakers like Corey. And it's been so amazing. And the feedback has been so amazing that we've been getting. And what I love the most is that when people, they hear what we're doing and then they listen to the webinars, then they go and apply what they've been taught. And then they come back and they say, "Oh, we tried the video stuff. It absolutely works." And for us, that's just gold. We really love it. And as a result, that's why today we've got this webinar. A simple webinar, in my view. We deal with a lot of leaders. with a lot of leaders in SA, especially when it comes to sales. And a lot of them have been saying to me, Spoo, Shayna, tell us, guys, what should we be prioritizing our efforts on? There's too many moving parts at the moment. So what should we spend our time on as leaders to be able to do better in what you want to do? And so that's why we have this webinar. It's easy. It's called, what should you as a sales leader or any leader who's responsible for revenue be looking at? But also for those who are not yet leaders, but you aspire to be a leader, you want to know how these guys think so that you can go back to your company and impact the revenue the way that these guys think. And that's why we want to bring this webinar to everybody so that you guys can see this. Now, for the first time in our webinars, we've not done this before, but what we want to do on this webinar, Corey, we want to give away some of your books that you've got. So we're going to be giving away one of this and one of this. So 4 of the books to participants who are here today, but for those who are highly involved. So you must be chatting, you must be sending us questions, and then if you're based in SA, we'll make sure that you have the book and it's going to be sent out to you by the end of the week. Unfortunately, we can only send to the guys who are based in South Africa because of obviously logistics challenges. So the first thing I want to say is that Corey, you have a duty. You will have to choose who our winners are, by the way, at the end of the webinar. So, we wanted to say whoever is asked what you think was a good question, or whoever we think has been the most involved, those books are going to be sent out to them, and then they'll be able to receive the books from us by the end of the week. That's simple. Great stuff. And before we get into it now, guys, I know some people have been here before. You guys would know who Shayna is. So Shayna is the coach of coaches here in South Africa. She's every single day, she's working with the sales leaders of some of the top companies here in SA, from startups to the top, and what she does basically is to advise and be able to help them to do better in their sales. She's done amazing work in the last year. One thing comes into mind now is that we had a CEO at some point who was about to be fired by the board. Shayna came in, applied the principles that we've been taught by Corey, and we were able to, actually get this, and his job was saved. So thank you very much, Shay. And so Shay is going to be leading us today with questions and everything. And then Corey, so we are happy to have Corey Bray here, guys. I cannot stress, how privileged it is to have Corey here. He is easily one of the top people in sales in the world. He's authored 8 books in sales, but what's amazing about the books that he's done is that they all end up, with best reviews, good reviews, or bestsellers. One of the book, actually, Sales Enablement Playbook, was chosen as one of the top 100 books of all time in sales. So, we're really privileged to have Corey come and join us here. And I think he woke up early again to come and join us here. Really, really privileged. Thank you very much, Corey.
Thank you.
I know that, we will be able to share a lot of good stuff with everybody who's joined. So Shay, without wasting a lot of time, I'm going to hand over back to you.
Fantastic. Cool. So Corey, in preparation for the webinar today, we ran a poll for about 2 weeks, just asking, as sales leaders, what are your biggest challenges that you're experiencing at the moment? And the results that we got back was recruiting and hiring came back as the highest at 35%. Then we had managing a remote team, because obviously everything has changed for everyone. Training and coaching came in third at 22%, and then getting the right tech stack came in at 13%. And we just wanted to find out, do you agree with these priorities from what you're seeing in the world and in the sales training space and in sales leadership, conversations that are taking place?
Yeah, recruiting and hiring's tough. And the key is that if you get that right, it fixes a lot of your other problems. Because if you get the right people in there, then they're going to have the skills to hit their goals, and they don't need to be built up from zero. So the trick here is, I wonder if anybody's watched that TV show Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
You watched it? Can we just do something super? Is it okay, Shane, if I just go off script and just do something super fun?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the whole trick with salespeople. Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna share my screen and play a video through a webinar in the first 5 minutes of me speaking. So let's do risky things today. This sounds fun.
Sure.
All right. So I'm gonna share screen. Oh, can I get a screen sharing privileges, please? This is one of my favorite clips ever. Stand by. All right. Okay.
Got it?
I got it.
Perfect.
All right. And I'm sharing through my audio. All right. Let's watch this clip.
Yep, you and I have a problem. Okay, your salespeople are telling me to cut everything cool about the platform just because it's a little bit harder for them to sell. But don't you think because they are such amazing salespeople that it would be okay for them to sell the harder stuff?
No, it doesn't work that way. The way you keep the best salespeople is you need to give them something easy to sell. Otherwise, they just go somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So,
Okay.
so the trick is when we're trying to recruit the best salespeople, it's all about, well, can we demonstrate to them that they're going to come here and be successful?
Wow.
Because a lot of other organizations are, and this, like Richard, so Richard Hendricks, the CEO of Pied Piper in Silicon Valley, he's sitting here, he doesn't understand it because he's this academic engineer type person. But at the end of the day, if you're the best salesperson, why wouldn't you go where you can hit 150, 200, 250% of your goal because the product's that easy to sell? A lot of organizations don't do a great job of marketing how successful their salespeople are and will be when they come into the organization. Giving them a lot of clarity around that helps recruit. And so when you're recruiting, there's companies that do recruiting videos. There's companies that do really strong job descriptions that instead of starting it with, you will be reporting to the VP of sales and your duties will include, come on, talk about how they are going to be successful, make it about them. You're recruiting them, you're prospecting them, you're selling to them, making it like a sales process where you're trying to uncover their pain. Well, why don't you like your current role? And then you're trying to show them, demo the how successful other people have been and what you've done, set them up for success, gets them in and helps you close the deal, just like Jack's trying to do there in the video.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Do you think, Corey, there's anything else that you would want to add to those kind of priorities that sales leaders are having challenges with at the moment?
Remind me what the second and third ones were again.
Sure. So it's managing a remote team, training and coaching, and then getting the right tech stack.
Yeah, totally. Well, if you have the right people, managing your remote team is not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the wrong people, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And then coaching,
absolutely.
Yeah, coaching's great. The way I think about, I was explaining this to somebody the other day. They were telling me how their coaching conversations kept getting moved with their teams. They're like, yeah, I get pulled into this stuff, I get pulled into this stuff. Well, I said, all right, so this guy's drinking a beer, right? And so I just wanted to make it hyper relevant. I said, well, what would it be like if someone took the first sip out of their beer and then threw it away? And then they got another one, took the first sip out of it and they threw it away. That's literally what you're doing with your salespeople if you're not coaching them, because you're getting a little bit out of them and you're just not drinking the rest of the beer, squeezing the rest of the orange, whatever analogy you want to use. You're not coaching them, so you're not able to move them from where they're at today to where their potential is. And a couple of things happen. One, we miss out on that performance today, which means that you as a leader, you don't hit your goals, or at least you've got to get other people on the team to make up for this person's deficiencies. And then the second thing that happens is this person doesn't hit their goals, so they leave and they go somewhere else. And then guess what's going to happen? You come in, you bring somebody else in who you don't coach. The same thing happens.
Same thing.
Over and over again, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating.
So by the way, Corey, whilst on that, I was talking to a prospect the other day, and he was saying to me that, listen, Sbu, I wanted to come here and coach my salespeople because I don't have time to coach salespeople. So you must come here and coach them. And I said, but you're gonna get more of a benefit if you coach them because you're there with them all the time.
Yeah.
So why is it that a lot of sales leaders, they don't think it's their job to coach salespeople?
Two things. One, they're not good at time management. Whenever a senior leader, CEO, COO, whatever, tells me that they don't think their salespeople or their sales managers are coaching, first thing I always say is, can you just show me one of their calendars? And what I often see is they've got a coaching conversation here and here and here. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, different times of the day. They've got all this stuff in between, meet with marketing, whatever, all this other stuff. and they're not being strong with their time management. The most
Yeah.
successful sales leaders I see, they've got their coaching conversations back to back. Now, if you got 8 people on your team, you don't want to do 8 in a row because you'll be exhausted. We do 3 in a row, 4 in a row, depending on what your stamina is like. So if you prep for these on Friday, you come in on Monday, you have 4 of them on Monday, 4 of them on Tuesday, boom. Rest of the week, they're executing on the things that you covered in your coaching conversations, or you do some Monday morning, some Monday afternoon, boom, done. Really strong at time management. So that's one piece of it. The second piece is that they think that it's harder than it is. So y'all held up that book, The 5 Secrets of a Sales Coach. And the reason that we wrote that book is because there's a framework in there called the Coach Framework, where we identify a challenge, we outline an opportunity. These are 2 things that we do before a coaching conversation, just like pre-meeting preparation if we're doing a discovery call or demo as a seller. And then during the conversation, we ask the salesperson a lot of questions. We develop an action plan to improve upon that challenge that we see. We get them to identify what the consequences might be of that action plan not coming to life. And they don't have to be dire consequences. They don't have to be punitive. It's just what happens if we persist with the status quo. And then finally, that last H is we hold accountable. So the manager asks the question, and this is key. I'm going to come back to this in a second. The manager asks the questions, what can I do to make sure that you're going to be able to put this into place over the next week? So that's that hold accountable piece. One thing you might notice, a couple of things you're noticing here. One is I'm asking questions instead of directing people. If we ask questions, we're more likely to get buy-in. If we tell them what to do, they're just going to nod and then go do whatever they want. And then the second thing is that if we get them to answer those questions, tell us what the consequences could be, tell us what they're going to do to be accountable, they're taking the workload on their shoulders instead of pushing it back on us. If managers are letting their salespeople assign them homework and the managers are getting loaded up with all the stuff that they have to do, then it becomes hard work and not fun. If the managers facilitate salespeople solving their own problems, they're obviously there to support them as needed, but the first pass is done by the salesperson. Coaching becomes easier and more fun, and people get more out of it. Salespeople are bought in. There's less frustration because it's their idea of what they're going to do. And so that's what we talk about in the book. And the book, if anybody hasn't read it, it's a parable. So it's a novel that follows a character named Arlo through his journey from where he was a terrible sales coach, meets this woman named Alex at a coffee shop. She takes him under his wing and teaches him how to become a great sales coach by the end of the book. So it's a business book, but it's kind of a story too. So it's fun for Saturday.
I like those books.
Yeah, they're hard to write. I'll tell you that though.
You did a great job.
I like writing the other ones because I can just do subheading and bullet points, and then on this one I would actually think about what's the character arc.
How do I datify this?
Yeah, my high school English teacher would not recognize me. She'd be like, "Who's this?"
No. Maybe we can ask everyone that's participating right now, like, guys, if you're leaders or part of a team, like right now, if you could just raise your hand or put it forward to all of us, what is your distinct impression around coaching? Do you feel it's successful, or do you feel it's like it's a time waster? Do you do it, or is it just something that when we don't find it to be, as Corey said, like it should be fun, and we'll find it as a chore? Maybe we could get some responses from everyone. That would be amazing, just to see where everyone is, because we're here talking as leaders and as people, salespeople together, empowering each other, and it's always cool to find out where everyone's at.
Yeah.
Sure. There's one quick question quickly. What is the trick around building content that sell?
I don't understand the question.
So I think it's more like if I've got a product and I want to be able to sell it out there, how do I build content around it? How do I build content around my position it for the market?
Yeah, I guess there's two. I feel like today everything's in twos. Or a couple of arms. So there's the marketing content and there's the selling content. So the marketing content's attracting people in and just getting their attention. I'm not the expert at this. A million marketing books out there, whatever. The sales content is around how do we quickly identify if somebody has pain or not. Yeah. And the framework that we use for that is from a book called Sales Playbooks, The Builder's Toolkit, big red workbook that it's over here. Hold on. Off screen. So this dude, and the idea is that you look at the features of your product, and for each feature, you say, what benefits does this feature have? And then for each benefit, you say, what pain point would someone have to have today to care about this benefit? Then you throw away the features and benefits and you talk about the pain points. And that's the way it's a formula to help develop what those pain points are. But you don't necessarily throw them away. You discard them during discovery conversations. You'll come back during demos, because as you uncover pain points, you go back to the left and you say, okay, well, that's the feature I'm going to demo if I uncovered this pain point. And we're only demoing things after we uncover pain. We're not going in and showing and saying, hey, look at all of our stuff. Do you want any of it?
Yeah.
That doesn't go anywhere. So yeah, I think the marketing content, which is a whole nother story, but then that real strong sales messaging is identifying those pain points. And then you can put them into discovery questions like, hey, Spoo, I'm working with other business owners who are struggling with this thing. They're concerned about this thing and they're upset about this other thing. None of that's happening with you, is it? And if it is, then cool, we got a sales conversation. If it's not, we'll talk about something else, because guess what? I've already got 29 minutes of my discovery conversation with him. I've still got that much time left. We're good.
Fantastic. One more question, Shay. And I actually get asked this a lot, Corey. One, Shane, firstly, he says that coaching works. Then he's asking, how do we separate the two between, those one-on-one meetings and then the coaching meeting?
I don't know that they should be separate.
Okay.
In the one-on-one meetings that you have with your folks, the number one thing we should be focused on is coaching. And coaching needs to happen at a level above the deal. So there's pipeline reviews and there's coaching. And as long as we keep pipeline reviews and coaching separate, we're going to be in a really good spot. Because the trap that sales leaders fall into is that they're just trying to say, well, how do we get this deal closed fast? And unfortunately, a lot of times when that's the only focus, we lose sight of our fundamental skills, the frameworks that we know that work, and we just start doing unnatural things like let's discount, or let's show up at their office and beg them, and then that stuff doesn't work. But if we step back and we say, okay, a lot of our deals are stalling after discovery, let's identify what challenges might exist. And a common, if somebody's deals are stalling after discovery, the two big things that often happen are we're either not uncovering pain, or we're not creating velocity into the next meeting by setting next steps that the prospect agrees to. Which one of those two things are happening? And then we can focus on that during the coaching conversation. And it's not just about this one deal that we're trying to do unnatural things to. It's about our entire pipeline, and that's how we create stronger salespeople.
Yeah. Great stuff. So just a quick, sorry, Shay, just two more points here. I've got a note with somebody who says, back to your question with regards to coaching, say that they find it as a time waster sometimes because it doesn't benefit them. And now I know that this is somebody who is a salesperson. So, they're saying that when they're being coached as their leader, for them, it's a time waster because it doesn't benefit them. It's really about how they spend their time during the week. So, it's not coaching, but look like, where did it go during the week and all that. So that's the first thing which they really find on that. And then somebody saying that, Corey, you hit it on the nail, being able to sell benefits to a client and not just going out there and selling something that's on a box. So, someone definitely agreeing with you there. Super. So before we go on, I want to make sure that before we could go through that, at least, everything which people have asked there, they get the. So here's another question: is that how do you know if coaching is effective? And what are the key elements of successful coaching? I think you might have touched on at least the key elements. And can I say, how do you know it's working? Is if there is a movement in the right direction, Corey? Is it that simple?
Yeah, the principle here is that salespeople can only control two things. Again, everything's twos today. Gee whiz. Okay.
Two wins. Woo!
I'm gonna go
I
buy
see a book coming. I see a book coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy a Kit Kat bar later, and then those come in twos.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm so ridiculous. I totally forgot the question already. What was the question?
Okay, so it's a two-pronged question. One, they're saying that how do you know?
Oh, how do you know if coaching's working? Yeah. Okay. So salespeople can only control two things. They can control their quality of activity and their quantity of activity. If the results change and you didn't change any of those things, then it didn't work. Something just, that's an externality. It's just, like some guy signed a contract, like woohoo, that didn't change what the salesperson's doing on a day-to-day basis. So the key leading indicators of success here are either the quality improved, so they're doing better discovery, they're asking better pain questions, they're uncovering pain, they're creating velocity, they're getting next steps on the calendar, their demos are very engaging and compelling, so there's quality improves, or their quantity improves, where if they're in a prospecting role, they're doing more activity, if they're in a closing role, they're following up with people more frequently, and they're asking for referrals and things like that. So those are the things that we want to look at, is that we're asking the salespeople to do things that are within their control. If you go in and you say, hey, sell more, okay, then you're just trying to get them to figure out, well, what the heck am I going to actually do with that? So work with them to understand what the gap between sell more and physically ask better pain questions during discovery calls is. And then that's the thing that you want to measure. If they're doing that, process drives outcome long-term.
Good one. One more. And I think this is a very good one. This person is saying that, they are very mindful of micromanaging. So how do you make sure that, when you're dealing with the salespeople and you're coaching them, they don't see it as micromanagement, but they actually see it as, there's a buy-in, that this is coaching to help me get better, not somebody who's micromanaging what I'm doing.
Yes. So if you use the coach framework that's in the book, it's not about telling people what to do. It's about asking questions and getting them to realize what the challenge is. So you go and you prepare that challenge in the outline. So you know what's going to happen, and that drives the questions that you ask.
Yeah.
And then you go in and you say, hey, Spoo, how are things going? It's like, oh, I think that my pipeline's a little late. Okay, well, walk me through what you're seeing there. And then he tells you, and they say, okay, well, do you have any ideas around how you might be able to impact that later? And he's like, oh yeah, I think I can do these things. Okay, cool. And all of a sudden you just ask a handful of questions and he came up with what he needs to do, and you're not telling him what to do. But if I go in there and I say, hey, Spoo, so here's what I'm gonna need you to do. I'm gonna need you to do these things. Then that's no fun for anybody.
Yeah.
And that also feeds into someone else has also asked, like, what do you think some of the motivating factors, should be for someone who's not selling enough? And I think that speaks directly to what you've just raised, Corey, in terms of they give you the outcome. It's almost like, when you're getting punished as a kid and your parent has to say, like, what do you think your punishment should be? And like often the kids come up with far worse outcomes than what you would, because we want to succeed. And I think it's also important to find out the individual's like value and what they're all about, and what drives them as a person. And that also takes you away from that micromanagement of going, hey, you do this. It's like, well, Corey, this is your this is your goals and where you want to go to, and this is where you see your career moving, and how can we help you get there?
Yeah, because you know how it feels when you say, hey, you do this?
Oh, it's horrible.
It feels like this.
Yeah.
See, this is why I like remote work, because I can do things like have weapons in business meetings. Nobody can get mad at me because I'm at my house. But that's I have that. There's a prop, because I often talk about this seriously, because when you're in there just directing them, hey, do this, do that, whatever, that's how it feels.
Sure.
So the idea of being a great coach is you're asking questions and helping lead them to coming up with what can work for them. And if they don't get to the right conclusion on their own, we can always edit it.
Okay, super. I think one more shape before I give it to you. Somebody is agreeing, they're saying definitely coaching is definitely beneficial, and they've seen a sense of direction in which the team gets to know afterwards, and she's seen that the people get confident and they deliver the results as required, which is quite cool. And I perfectly agree with that. Good shape, back to you.
Cool. So obviously, in terms of the different kinds of businesses that we have, just to quickly touch on. So we have startups, we have mid-market, and then we have like, the top 500 Fortune, like bigger companies. What do you think? Do you think sometimes the priorities are the same, or it definitely shifts in different parts of the market? Or do you think sales leaders in those different spaces are experiencing the same things? What do you view it as or see in your field, Corey?
The main difference between the smaller companies and the bigger companies is the bigger companies have a lot of politics. And those are harder to navigate. Because,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the difference. If you go in and you say, hey, we want to change how we do discovery, smaller company, 1 or 2 people can say, yes, let's do it. Bigger company, you got to have a town hall debate.
Yeah.
So I think.
And so do you think in terms of the leaders in those businesses, they should focus on the same thing? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this, because a lot of times when we speak to clients, who are maybe startups, let's say, I don't have the brand name of this big company. So, my focus can't be that. So I need to be focusing on something else because I don't have a brand to play with. But when you go to the brand guys, it's something different as well.
Yeah, because the bigger companies they're always entering new markets, doing other stuff. So if I've got a big brand and I'm going into a new market, well, people think that my brand is this other thing, not this new thing. And so that's a challenge. The other thing is that it's easily solved by quotas and compensation. So if I've got a brand and it's easier to sell the stuff, then higher quotas, or you just get, better company return on investment for sales headcount. Whereas smaller companies, it's more of an investment in the future that isn't as much of a cash cow as it is for a larger company. Because if a larger company knows that if I put a salesperson here, I'm going to make $1 million a year, then that's cool. That's pretty easy. Smaller company might not have nearly as much certainty as that. Maybe they can do that, maybe they can't. And so I think it's more about in a larger company in their core business, it's pretty mathematical and finance driven. In either a big company going after new markets or going up market or whatever it is, or in a smaller company, there's a little less certainty. But at the end of the day, I think the one main driving factor that differentiates the two is politics. And that's even in deal cycles. Who do I involve? Can I get a customer reference? No, because you're new here or you're junior, so you can't use that customer reference.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. All right. Super. And just to remind everybody else who joined afterwards, everyone who's asking questions and everyone who's commenting, we're going to choose 2 of those and we're going to give them these books, 1 each. So please just keep engaging us, guys. Shay, back to you.
Cool. I think someone also mentioned that, a sales strategy or a methodology that was relevant 10 years ago is not necessarily that relevant nowadays because of the way the world is changing and how conversations and sales has changed. What do you think, Corey, are 3 really important elements for people to have a conversation around when they're going to prospect, or things that they can maybe focus on in terms of making sure that their methodology matches where their prospect is in their buying process?
Yeah, that's the key, is matching where they are, because the methodologies that were created before the internet, they look at everything in a linear process.
Yeah.
You do this step, then this step, then this step, then this step. And even then, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, there wasn't that much research that somebody could do. The salesperson still held the keys to the kingdom with respect to customer stories and references and all of that type of stuff. Now it's a little different. If I want to go investigate a software product, I can go out there and get demos of it, maybe unsanctioned demos from users or partners on YouTube. I can go talk to customers, because you post your logos. When I go to LinkedIn and figure out who those people are that bought it and just go talk to them directly. So expecting that our prospects are going to go through this linear process is not reasonable. And then a lot of things that are looked at as sales methodologies are really just discovery checklists. There's certain acronyms out there that it's real great for the executive to look at a deal and say, well, do you have the metrics? Have you identified the economic decision maker, what economic buyer, whatever it is? And you go through the list, you're like, okay, that's a deal, that's not a deal. the challenge with those types of methodologies is that what does the salesperson actually say?
Mm.
How do you do a demo? How do you set next steps? How do you land and expand? And if your methodology doesn't adapt to each one of the jobs that your salesperson has to do, how do you create momentum between meetings? How do you get somebody back from ghosting you? All these different things. If your methodology doesn't account for that, then you've got something that's incomplete. It's like taking half the pages out of the dictionary and trying to have a conversation with somebody. And if everybody's doing different things and making it up as they go, then how do you coach to that? If you have 8 different people on your team that all run 8 different selling methodologies or systems or whatever you call them, then coaching just becomes exhausting. So that's another way that we make coaching really easy, is get everybody on a common language. So we know how we're prospecting, we know how we're running discovery, we know how we're demoing, we know what we're going to do if they buy a little bit and we want to sell them more, or if the prospect talks to us and they go dark, or if we want to disqualify. Those are all the things that the team is standardized on. Then it makes operating easier, more successful. You can figure out who's doing well, who's not. Then it makes coaching easier because you can observe what the different challenges are across the team. And then it makes scaling easier too, because you talked about onboarding earlier, I think in one of the bullet points, bring people into a system, plug them in, rock and roll. So that's what we've seen. I mean, that's pretty much what I spend all my days on, is trying to figure out how to just operationalize this. Because you look at any other industry, you look at a hospital, you look at a manufacturing, you look at an accounting firm, something walks in the door and they know exactly what to do with it.
Yeah.
So true.
I like that. Yeah.
Every other profession, every other white collar profession, at least, probably I don't know, pretty much every profession, your plumber walks in, they know exactly what to do, right?
Yeah.
Sales teams treat it like it's something new.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Yeah. So Corey, there's 2 questions here by Kingsley. The one, I think it can be a one-liner. Kingsley, we actually had a webinar on this, on how you can sell better against competition. So if you go to our channel on YouTube, which you will see there, you'll be able to find a full session which Corey did for us, 1 hour, where he explained exactly how you can do what you just asked there when it comes to the competition. But on the second one, Corey, he's asking whether setting different incentives for reps on a sales category, does that create motivation? I'm guessing on different products, or maybe if they reach a certain target, how then can you then increase, based on what they've got? So basically, being creative around how you give them an incentive, does that create a bit of more motivation?
Yeah. So coach, we talk about in the sales coach book, coaching is personal. We need to understand the personal motivations for each person. Is it that they want to go home to their family at a certain hour? Is it they want to buy a house? Is they want to get rich? Is they want to be a VP of sales? Whatever it is, and we need to coach to that personal motivation. Yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting. If the team's on a common methodology and they know what to do in every situation, then the manager doesn't have to worry about reinventing the wheel every time. Now they can worry about, how do I coach each individual to what they want to achieve and invest more time in them and get more out of them as individuals. So that's definitely the next level beyond just the basic fundamentals.
Beautiful. And that's so true. The example of being able to coach to somebody's personal goal, what they want personally. If as a manager you're able to tap into that, you really can get the best out of a salesperson.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. I think Deshi's just making a point that cash flow is an issue when it comes to small companies, and so selling then becomes a critical component in being able to manage your cash flow. But you find that big companies, they don't have as much motivation, and I think it could be what you've mentioned there, Corey, the politics that are there, and therefore they will they hardly then reach those goals. There's no motivation when it comes to it because of the politics.
I just think bureaucracy kills motivation.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's not about the people. It's just you can only be told no so many times.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's amazing as you said. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's amazing as you said, like we can't push people through a linear process, and so now people keep speaking that buyers buy in circles. And if we look at like even in nature, like, you know, the circle and hey, closed loop, we're closing the loop of that's Corey and Hillman's company that's based in the States. It creates quite a powerful foundation. And, you know, like if we look at it in those aspects and how we can work in those cycles, it's like seasons. It's like so many things that exist, even with bees. I'm an avid beekeeper. You know, they do the little bee dance and they move around in circles to make sure that the rest of the hive and colony is looked after and protected. It's the same kind of sentiments. We can't go and like just tromp on because that's what we know to be is the next step. Bless you.
Yeah,
To you,
love it.
So, So, Corey, one of the stuff which was there, which, you know, we even talked about, some sales leaders, they think the best thing they can do is get more tech. Tech will solve all problems. You know, my guys can sell. Let me automate this. Let me do this. At which point is tech too much? It's good, but at which point is tech too much?
Well,
and I'm glad because you are based in Silicon Valley, so you know exactly how tech can influence how people behave.
Yeah, tech doesn't solve problems. Tech only makes solutions to problems more efficient. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that you don't need a call analytics software product to listen to calls. You need a recorded call to listen to calls. Now, a call analytics software product can make it much more efficient. You don't need an email automation system to send emails. You need Google or Outlook. You don't need these tools to do the job. And if you can't do the job well in analog, you can't do it well digitally. That's what I always say. So figuring out what that process is and what you're trying to do, just a very small scale, just like anything else, you're going to build a product, build it small and then build it larger, and then use the tool to make it more efficient as you scale it. So once you figure out, okay, well, these emails convert to prospects. Okay, cool. Get a great automated tool and do it at scale. Cool. Or start with the big tool, whatever, but realize that you're not solving a problem by buying the tool. You're just giving yourself the opportunity to make something more efficient. Yeah, e-signature. Yeah, everyone should. That's pretty easy. I don't think you need a beta test e-signatures. Just get one of those. That's good. Yeah. CRM. You know, I think that those are really important tools. Do you absolutely need one the first day you start your business? No, not really. You just need a spreadsheet. But at some point, you're going to want to start doing things that requires a database, and it's hard, most of us, to turn a spreadsheet into a database to talk to different tables and whatnot. So that's where CRM comes in handy. Yeah. So just think really critically. Like, why do I need this tool? Why can't I do this in analog just for now and then move to a tool later?
Super. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because the other thing is that the implementations, whatever implementation you have of your tools, of your first version, you're always going to just rip it out and change it later. So that's
just get the process locked down first and then move it into automation at a later stage. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've seen this quite a lot where, you know, everybody comes through and it's tech, but there's no, you know, there's no plan ahead. You know, there's still problems there, and tech does not solve those issues up until you eventually engage in methodology, a process that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Great stuff. So I think we are about to wrap it up, right?
Shay? Yes, I think so.
I don't know, any other questions which people can just send?
Yeah. Is there anything else that you think we haven't touched on or spoken about, Corey, that sales leaders should be prioritizing for 2021?
I think this is discovery and coaching. If you do great discovery, if you're good at coaching, then you're solving most of your problems. If you have a demo product, if you demo your product, talk less than 50% of the time, probably going to find that that's hard to do. But if you do that, then guess what? Prospect's going to talk a lot. And you're going to learn a lot of things. You'll create velocity to your next deal, and then always get next steps coming out of your meeting. Like those 4 things are pretty great, because king size Kit Kat bars have 4.
Okay, so we'll go with those 4 then.
The 4 bits.
2 of the other one.
I'm studying. I'm taking a stand-up comedy class. And I'm trying to.
That's amazing.
Trying to learn some stuff. Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to have a chocolate called Take Two. You could go and do some research on YouTube, and there was a little thing. So, you know, now you're multiplying into 4, so it's all good. Yay.
Can I do a couple jokes while we're here?
Yeah, sure.
I've got some
You got-
clean
Just
ones.
one, please.
You got 2 minutes, sir.
2 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
So, So my girlfriend, she brought me a half a muffin for breakfast this morning. And it's really hard to tell when someone gives you half a muffin. Are they being generous with their food, or are they trying to tell you to lose weight? And, Shane and Speed, you guys have met me in person. And you know that I always wear Crocs, right?
Yeah.
So I actually
Yeah.
I learned that when I was single. I used to always wear Crocs on a first date because I wanted girls to think that was what was wrong with me.
Oh
Okay,
my goodness.
I'm done.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah. We'll get back to you on that. Nice. Thank you. We have one more question that's just come through. How would compare the impact of virtual online coaching, which is on the increase, with the real physical coaching in the future? I
Well,
think, yeah.
Yeah, if we're talking about virtual online coaching, where the tools where you record yourself saying something and then somebody talks to you back, I don't like that.
No.
I think it's great if you're coaching somebody on doing a presentation or a keynote speech. It's not great if you're doing a sales conversation. The virtual coaching is if you've got a recorded call and then somebody can coach based on what you did during that real life conversation. That's very good. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Super.
So it would still stay as an interactive conversation that would be happening, whether it be a Zoom or a team meeting. And I think that's what a lot of people are, kind of feeling a bit threatened with. Like, because we're working remotely, we're no longer in the workspace to find out what's going on in the company at all times. And so when we do have these one-on-one meetings, it's kind of like, what are you doing for the week? What's going on? Are you calling? We don't see the activity. And there's just panic from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, stay ahead of it. Yeah, if anybody's panicking, just what's that old saying from one of the generals from World War II? If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Cool.
So Corey, you've got a job to do now.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna pick Kingsley for sure.
Yep, Kingsley.
I'm also gonna pick Namza because Namza said it was funny. So that's
no bias there. Oh.
Yeah, where's everybody else at? Gee whiz, one person? Come on, it's so hard on this joke. No hard is right. Oh man, it's like one clean joke for every 20 dirty jokes, and I give you guys the ones that I'm not gonna get in trouble for. All right. Let's see who else.
We have some in the Q&A as well.
Oh,
Can you see the Q&As, Corey? Can you? Okay, you can. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I don't know if I can pronounce. I really apologize.
I'll help you out.
We'll help
Sibongile.
Sibongile, Yep, that's it. Boom.
Yep, Sibongile, yep.
And then one more.
Yes,
and one more.
Let's do Shane.
Cool, Van der Merwe. Done.
Shane van der Merwe, perfect.
Great
Stuff. Super. Okay, so Kingsley is in Nigeria, but I'll make a plan. Kingsley, don't worry, I've got you. And everybody else, we'll make sure that you guys will have the books by the end of the week. So please, Sibongile, Nomsa, and okay, especially Sibongile, would you please just send me an email so that I know where to send your book to. And I think Shayna and Nomsa will be able to reach out, and Kingsley as well. Please let me know where I can send you the book. So guys, thank you very much for coming through. Again, Corey, we really appreciate this. Thank you for your time.
Always.
Really helpful, really good, as always. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
For everyone who's still on the webinar, our next webinar will be on the 23rd, and I will be talking about the challenges that I see a lot, why salespeople don't hit their quota. With what I've been going through in the last six months, especially. So I want to just come through and share with the guys what I've seen and how they can make a change in all those. And by the way, today Corey went and talked a lot about Coach. We have a book on Coach, which is available on Take a Lot for those who didn't win the book. It's only $350, not too bad. So it's available on Take a Lot. So you can go and get the book there, number one. But secondly, for those that feel that you want an actual course where you get to hear Hilmon and Corey talk about the cost more, and this cost work that comes through with it. And then from there, you get 1 hour of coaching from Shayna and myself. We have a course available for you guys. Just again, send me an email. I'll let you know how it works. And that's it. Wishing everybody a great evening. And for you, Corey, wishing you the rest of your day to be beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Take
Bye.
care.
Hey, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.